It's Lori from Positive Thanks Living, and I'm here to go through 4 gratitude journaling spots, crafts, ephemera, journaling places, and tell you how I made them. Now, this one here I have a separate video for. It's a accordion style made out of circles, and I've linked that video below. So that one is from G. Kerr's Happiness and Crafting. She had a Friday freebie, and I loved those papers so much that I went and got the kit in her Etsy store, and that's where these papers, that's all of them here on this side. So this is linked below, and we'll go through this one. That's the envelope pocket, and I added to it, Valerie Kruger on Instagram had a tutorial, and it was the pocket itself made out of envelopes, and I added a back to it because I wanted to have enough journaling spots for 1 week. So this will be good for a week's worth of little spots to talk about what you're thankful for. This has got enough journaling spots to talk about what you're thankful for a week. This one is an envelope from Oak House Journals. Carol Parker, she did a tutorial, and it's linked below, how to make this envelope. And I have enough little cards in here for a week of journaling. Just the things that you're thankful for. And the little closure here. And this is the waterfall journaling tags. So simple. It's tags that I've cut so that you can see them. And then I have some extra ones inside just because I could. With a little card. And on the back, here's a little pocket with the G's stamp, illustration, digital illustration. So I'm going to show you how to do this one today, and we'll walk through this. It's very simple. Anyhow, it's Lori from Positive Thanks Living, and thank you so much for those that have subscribed to this YouTube channel. Also, thank you so much for those that have interacted with me in Facebook groups and, of course, on Instagram. Where did this concept or this focus on gratitude begin for me? Well, we went through some hard years, and I decided at that time to do a little research on gratitude. And so this is what sort of came out of it. I began keeping notes. I read every book from the library about gratitude and being thankful and such. And the website where I write is positivethanksliving.com. It grew out of that research on being thankful, being grateful. I just will share with you one thing about being thankful is all of us, when we count our many blessings, it isn't hard to see that life's most valued treasures are the treasures that are free. For it isn't what we own or buy that signifies our wealth. It's the special gifts that have no price, our family, friends, and health. And that pretty much sums up what thankfulness is. I'll talk more about it later, but my desire to write about thankfulness on positivethanksliving.com, and now to make these little journaling spots. We're going through a difficult year in 2020. Each of us have our own issues with this pandemic, the quarantine, perhaps loss of income, perhaps change in how you make your living. But I believe with my whole heart that there's always something to be thankful for. And perhaps it's not something tangible. Perhaps you're far away from family. But if we are focused on finding things that we are thankful for, that will change our mood completely. I picked up groceries this morning from Walmart, and you drive your truck into the little spot, and a delivery person walks out with your groceries because you've ordered them online and puts them in the back of your vehicle. And it was pouring this morning, completely a downpour, enough to drench anyone. And this young fellow, his name was, I won't say it anyhow, he just said, "Oh, this gives me a chance to enjoy the weather. And if I get wet, I'll dry off." His attitude was so beautiful. I appreciated that very much. And that's the kind of person I'd like to be. So if we focus on things we're thankful for, it will become a part of who we are. I don't know about you, but I prefer to be around people that are positive, are optimistic, that can see the lemonade coming from the lemons that they have. So that's where writing down what you're thankful for, even if it doesn't come naturally, your ability to be optimistic, it will change your mindset. It will improve your life. It'll make the people around you happier to be with you. So let's get into this demonstration, show and tell, tutorial. I'll move this one aside because there's a video on this already. And let's talk about the envelope pocket tutorial from Valerie Kruger. It begins with some envelopes, 2 envelopes, and on her tutorial, and I'm going to recommend that you watch it, she shows you how to put these 2 pockets together, and then back them with paper. So you glue the little papers down so that the envelopes are covered. Now I've added a second pocket on the back and opened up the top envelope so that I have another place to put something in, because I wanted enough for a week's worth of little journaling. So you glue those on, and then I used my hole punch. It's 1 3/4 inch hole punch to take out a little bit of a notch here, if you see on this side where the tags are. And then you decorate it once it's all your things are glued down. I used the paper from G. Kerr's Friday Freebie 24. It has the little stamps. I used a die cut sometimes to cut around the stamps. And this is the paper that's on there. And a little bit of sari ribbon and a little bit of this lace. Here's the way it looks when you purchase it. And I just cut apart the little, into little, I don't know what they're called. I cut apart the lace. The word stamps are from Musings by Nikki. They're called Fascinating Word Cards. And I was fascinated because they have very interesting definitions. This one, to do something with soul, creativity, or love, to put something of yourself into your work. I just thought that that was ideal for this kind of concept. And a little journaling card in here, and enough tags to fill all the pockets. Now this is from another G. Kerr's Friday freebies. She has a Facebook group, and if you go on there, she provides the files to these beautiful papers. Or if you're not on Facebook, she also has them in her Etsy shop for a minimal amount, just enough to cover her Etsy costs. So that's for this envelope pocket tutorial. Go look at Valerie Kruger's tutorial on how to put together the envelope. And if you'll see, I just added the back, like so, made from 2 envelopes. And I'm presuming that you can make your envelopes any size. I just measured the paper from the envelopes that I had, and I put some distress ink, green. This is bundled sage. Distress ink along the sides and along the tags, because I like inking things. So if you see, I also stenciled a wee bit. There's another video on stenciling. I'll link it below. Again, not complicated at all. So that's that. One of the journaling spots. This here is from Oak House Journals, Carol Parker, and she has a tutorial on how to make the envelope. What I did, following her tutorial, is I used a 12 by 12 sheet of scrapbooking paper, and she shows you how to make your own template. So I used half of it for the envelope, cutting out the envelope. You can see here, this is the envelope, and I cut the edge off of there afterward. And the other half of the 12 by 12 are these cards. See? Really easy. There are 8. I don't know where the 8th one went. You know what it's like when you're crafting, especially when you've got a bunch of things on the go. I decorated each card within the package. So this is, I embossed the cover, and there is a show and tell on embossing. I'll link it below. Just the cover. I put it through an embossing folder, this one, and just the cover. So how I did it was I just went through like so, folded the other paper underneath the cover, and put it through. So only one part of the envelope was embossed. And the closure is a die cut circle. I've misplaced my circles. There they are. I built it up with a number of them. If you can see, it's kind of thicker, and put a brad through the middle, attached it on the other side, and then put a piece of embossed paper to cover up the underside of the brad. So that's simple, right? Each card is decorated again with G. Kerr's pretty little stamps from her Friday freebie 24. And I just die cut them out. You could cut them out with a scissor, no problem. And then I have on each one a flower, they're from Tim Holtz die cuts, wildflowers, thin milk dies, they're called, like so. Now I couldn't put a lot on each card because, as you can see, it has to fit inside this envelope. I used washi on this one just for fun. So they have to be pretty flat. And I did the green bundled sage Tim Holtz distress ink on the back of each card. So that's that one. Now that was 3. And if you're wondering, I don't know where it came from. This was our daughter Sarah's paper, but it's the Luxury Stack DCWV. It's lovely. It's beautiful. It's got a bit of a sheen to it. You could use any of your scrapbooking paper. 12 by 12 worked for me, but you don't have to do that. You can work it out. Take a look at Carol Parker's tutorial. I'll link it below. And the last one to talk about is this waterfall. So, I started with the papers from G. Kerr, the backing papers. You can find it on Etsy, or you can use whatever papers you want. It's up to you what papers float your boat. These are papers from her, and I could make 3 sets of tags from each page. This is what it looks like put together. These are 2 tags that I've adhered to each other as a back. It's a little more sturdy. And they slide so easily. Now the tag that I used was 3 by 6 die cut, like so. I inked around each tag, and if you see the whole of the tag, the brad that I had, and of course I can't find the brad right now, it was, the head of the brad was too small. It just flipped through the hole. How do you solve that? Well, I decided to cut out a little flower again, like the closure on the envelope, and place it one on this side and one on this side, so not between any of them. The brad went through this one and came out on this side, and then I covered it up, the back of the brad, with another flower. You could use a circle, you could use a square, you could use whatever you want. Then, once I had the tags prepared the way I wanted them, I cut them to make a waterfall. And I used my mat here, each is a half an inch. And the top one is you can see how it went down incrementally. Now the last 2, now these bottom 2 are attached to each other. So this one and this one are the same length. I mean, you could make it differently. You could make the top one shorter if you wanted, but for my purposes, I wanted enough writing space. So when you flip it over this way, you have enough to write on. So I didn't want to make it any shorter. I am stenciled the backs of each of the tags because I think it looks pretty and it adds to the... when you don't have a blank page, when there's something on the page, it seems as though it takes away part of our barrier for writing, especially if you're not used to writing a lot. So that's part of why I stencil so lightly. You can write over top of it. And it's Stormy Sky, the Tim Holtz Distress Ink that I stencil with. There's a tutorial about the stenciling. It's not hard at all. I use this brush for stenciling as opposed to the sponge. The sponge, I do the edges, works well. The brush I use for stenciling works better than the sponge for me. And you could just buy a dollar store kind of makeup sponge and do that with that. You don't need the special implements at all. You don't even need to ink if you don't want to. So that's how this is made. All the details will be below. And I'm going to write about this on positivethanksliving.com. So if you want the details, in-depth details, tutorial details, I'm much better at writing than I am at doing videos or speaking. So I'll have 2 sets that I'm going to put into the Etsy store that I've opened. I have the hymn journaling booklets already, some of them already in the store. So I'm going to put 2 sets of these gratitude journaling spots in the store. So if anybody's interested in having the set, the 4 of them, you're welcome to take a look if that's something you'd like, or you can make your own, or you know what, you don't need anything special to write down what you're thankful for. You can use your phone. I have an app on my phone, Gratitude 365, or you can just buy an 88-cent or $1 composition notebook and start writing down what you're thankful for. I just thought something pretty would be nice. And if you don't want to do a whole month's worth of being thankful, then you could engage 3 other friends. And each of you could use one kind, and you could share online. I mean, if you can't get together, that's fine. Or if distance separates you, you can share on social media the things you're thankful for 1 week. Anyhow, you can read the details on positivethanksliving.com. I'll link everything that I can below in the description of this video. And I wish you all a wonderful day. Take care. It's Lori from Positive Thanks Living.